Welcome, everyone, to the Outtakes Movie Podcast. I'm Sam, and we are still going on our quest to go through every single movie ever made and objectively rank them best to worst of all time. I'm joined as always by my amazing team, Amelia. How's things?
Hello. I've got a piece of shit behind me.
But somehow you're still hanging out with the best live-action Fantastic Four. Somehow.
I mean, this guy looks like he gets up to something naughty in his spare time. And this guy looks like, you know, that guy that got kicked off Love Island for trophy hunting right at the beginning. I don't know if any of you guys even, heard that. Google him. It looks exactly like him, and it's freaking me out a bit.
To me, he looks like Alan from the Thunderbirds, but just has come to life.
That's
He kind of looks like what's the guy who plays Barney called in How I Met Your Mother? What's his name?
Oh my god, he does. I can't
But
see that.
not
Thingy Patrick.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Kind of looks like an alternative universe version of Neil Patrick Harris as well.
Definitely see
Like
that.
if one of his parents was different, that's what it looks like. That's it's weird. It's kind of creeped me out a bit.
Fucking hell. And then behind her is The Rock.
Yeah. And then there's also Karen.
It's Darcy Bustle. Blonde Darcy Bustle.
Yeah.
That's weird, bro. Sorry for anyone listening on the actual podcasting apps. You're going to have to go over
Oh
and
yeah, you
see
struggle
this.
with that one.
Just realised.
There's a plug for the video of it. I won't cut any of that. It's great. You have to sit through 2 minutes of it. I won't cut any of it. Watch the YouTube. Joe, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Doing a podcast.
Doing a podcast.
So, yeah.
Talking about shitty fucking...
Yeah.
Jacob, this is your fault.
Oh yeah, things are fantastic, but oh boy, they're really not.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Say that again. I didn't quite hear what you said. This
What?
was a really bad joke about the end of the film. Say that word again.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
In due course, just you wait. Oh,
every time that happens in the film, I made a noise. I just instinctively made it like a growl.
I've got that written down throughout the notes. Whenever something happens, just no,
Man.
just
It's one of those endings, right? It's like, you know what? I had the exact same ending, feeling with this ending as I did with Rise of Skywalker, right? When she says the thing at the end, and you're like, "Don't you fucking dare say it! Don't you say it!" I had the exact same thing at the end of this. The fucking stood there, and I'm like, "Don't."
Is
don't,
it worse that they
and
do or don't say it? I think it might even be worse that they don't, because you know it's happening anyway.
Yeah. You know that if he carries on like an extra 2 seconds, he'll just look at him and go, "The Fantastic Four!" Like, whoa! What a sick name that is. It's like, oh, fucking hell. And I'm kind of glad we didn't get to see that. But I get to interpret it myself.
So yeah, it's 2015, the 6th of August, and the world was blessed with Fantastic Four. Josh Trank and Simon Kinberg's Fantastic Four. So let's see what else was going on in the world and see if anything else better was going on at the time. So in the world of pop charts, it was 2015. Number 40, Ellie Goulding with Love Me Like You Do.
Oh, God.
One.
The Love Me Like You Do.
Yeah, I swear that was the... Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Number 32 was Bruno Mars and Mike Ronson with Uptown Funk, which had fallen 30 places from the previous week. It had lost its stranglehold. Yeah, well, because it was number one for 6 months or whatever. It's insanity. And to be honest with you now, I think I just remember the Uptown Puffs version of it more than the real version.
I have no idea what that is.
You know the meme one where it's the Reese's Puffs thing. Reese's Puffs, peanut butter chocolate flavor.
Yeah, with the tune in the back.
With the Uptown Funk tune in the back, yeah.
I sing it whenever I eat Reese's Puffs, so I know.
Number 16, trying to sort of grab, fuck, Bruno Mars is gone. Ed Sheeran's coming in there, replacing the Stranglehold, having Photograph kind of climb up the ranks. Number 5 was probably the best song that I recognise, which was Shut Up and Dance, Walk the Moon, which is at least fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
Go on, sorry.
I
didn't even think it. Which one is that one?
Shut
Oh,
up
don't you
and
dare look
dance
back.
with me.
Yeah.
That one.
Great song.
Oh god, I remember that one. Yeah, no, I don't know that one.
They don't sound like fond memories.
No, I don't know that one. I don't know that one.
He doesn't like the high school disco.
I didn't. I mean, you mean I was so hyped to 2015? It would have been like what, prom? I would have been going to prom that year. So all these songs would have played at prom. So, you know.
Well, was number one, which was Little Mix's Ode to Date Rape, Black Magic.
Yeah.
Take a sip of my
Sounds about right.
potion.
So yeah, it's 2015 and things are just boring and bleak and bland. What about the world of video games? Some stellar games came out this year. Some very fucking iffy games came out this year. The week that we are on, nothing of note. So that's good.
Brilliant.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Didn't Fallout 4 come out this year?
In
Like
November.
later that year, in like
Yes.
November, yeah.
That's been out for 5 years, almost.
Ooh.
Damn.
And do you want to know something even worse?
Uh-oh.
CEX will give you 50p to £1 for it.
I mean,
Wow.
that's
Not
about
even
what it's worth.
joking.
If they're gonna give you that for Fallout 4, what are they gonna give you for Fallout 76? Legit.
Yeah. That's
You would
it.
have to pay them to
You
take
pay
it.
them.
Yeah.
Just look at it like, oof, mate, we're not taking this.
I'm
Well, how
pretty-
much are you gonna
is it
give me
hard?
for it?
Am I thinking of Halo 4?
I
We
mean-
were looking up some video games because like, Zach's obviously getting rid of a load for this move. And it was either Halo 4 or Fallout 4. And honestly, it was like, you might as well just like throw it out your window instead of like give it to someone.
It's a frisbee instead.
Yeah.
They
How
don't
do you
like.
think, how do you think like they would feel like if you packed up a copy of Fallout 4 and like directly addressed it to Todd Howard and just sent it back to him? How do you think that would affect him?
Just like, no thanks.
There's no note attached. It's just a copy of the game. So what about the world of cinema? It was also not a very interesting month. So most of the kind of big movies would come out 7 days after this, on the 14th. So you had Walt Before Mickey, which I could have seen picking up a general audience, but it's still quite niche as something you know, not many
I
people are
heard
going to go
that
for that.
wasn't that good though. I heard
Yeah,
that's
I
only.
heard it's not very good
I think
either.
I've watched it. It's okay. It's a bit naff. If it's the one I'm
Isn't it
thinking
like-
of.
I remember the marketing it as kind of like this, like, ooh, this is going to be about him making Disney and Disneyland, but then it's not. It's about him as like a kid or something.
It's literally about him starting up like the cartoon business, like the first one in you know where it is. Wherever.
On the same day, Straight Outta Compton came out. I remember that being quite a big deal. Like, a lot of people were talking about that. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. came out.
Is that Henry Cavill?
That's the
Yeah.
Henry Cavill one.
Yeah. I've not seen it.
I remember, I've not seen it either, but I remember when it came out, everyone saying that it was like really shit. But like since, if anything, the people said that it like when it first came out, everyone was like, "Oh, it's so shit, don't go watch it." But now people are like, "You know what? Yeah, it's alright. It's not too bad. Go watch it. It's
People
alright."
are like starting to revisit
But
it. That's
is
Yeah.
that not maybe the audience at the time that liked it that got drowned out by the hate, and they're just sticking
Yeah,
with it because
maybe.
they liked it?
okay.
Like,
Maybe.
that's, to me, that's what the whole, you know, release the Snyder Cut crowd are. They're just the people who already, they wouldn't admit it, but they already like DC enough to kind of like Justice League in the first place, you know, and they've just not shut up about it.
Yeah, yeah, you know.
And then the only other film that may have picked up, because the general audience that Fantastic Four is going for, which is kind of why I'm picking these movies, as you kind of broad, casual moviegoer, hey, this looks like a fun action movie, let's go and see Fantastic Four. The Hitman movie came out, Hitman Agent 47, which I heard was not good at all.
Yeah, no,
Was that the one where they hacked all the cars? And there's
I
like a
don't know.
car stampede or something.
It's
Well,
the
that sounds
one
more like one
in
of
the
Fast and Furious
trailer.
movies.
In the trailer, a helicopter flew into a building, I think. That's all I remember.
That doesn't summarize. That doesn't like narrow it down at all. Oh, was this the one where there was like a red car in like the middle of a crossroad, and they'd harpooned it, and it was just like harpooned and stuck in one place?
I mean,
who fucking knows? Oh, well, we're not talking
that
about
sounds
that
like the Hitman games, doesn't it? I mean,
see, that's it.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to someone at the time who was like, it's not that bad. It's a fun action movie. It's pretty dumb. Turn your brain off. And I was like, but that's not what Hitman is. Like, why would you get this IP? So yeah, I don't think really much was in the way of eating into Fantastic Four's domestic gross, which is sad, really. So Jacob, you take it away, and we'll tolerate this, I guess.
I mean, I'll say, like, up top, just want to clarify, one of the main reasons I picked to choose this was I hadn't watched it before, and I was curious to see how bad it could be. And one of the only reasons I chose it was because it was free, and I'm pretty sure it was free on Amazon Prime. And then, like, after we finished recording, I went to go and check. Alright, I'll find it and I'll queue it up for later. It wasn't on there anymore. It was gone. So anyone who has paid money or just gone out of their way to try and find a way to watch this movie, I apologise. I would say mail me, but you still really wanted to watch it. It's not on Netflix either. I couldn't find it on anything.
No. I watched it on Netflix.
Did you?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
What?
Did it like go on like the day after you looked or something? Just to spite you?
I'm sure it's
fucking
on
possibly.
I'm gonna look.
It was
I'm
on
100%
something, and I checked back and it wasn't there anymore. And I was like, well, great. Now I'm gonna have to find something, like another way of watching it.
I'm sure it's on
I mean,
Netflix,
the fact it's free in the first place is my first warning sign of not to choose this movie.
Well, yeah, like, there's loads of things on like
free?
Whatever. Not free to purchase. It's like to stream it.
I was gonna say
No,
they're giving it away with a bag of pegs or whatever that saying is. No, please take it.
Put on something. I must gone to watch it in that short period where it wasn't on anything because I checked on.
Like if
all
a license
things.
deal has expired, it's come off Amazon Prime, blank day on Netflix the next day. That I genuinely could see that being something that's happened. Fucking there it is, right there.
Ah! All right.
Did you actually not know it was like? I assumed you picked it because it came onto Netflix.
What
did you type in? Did you type in fan fort stick for it?
Not in Fantastic Four, and it wasn't on there.
I don't know what to name this episode, by the way. Do I name it Fantastic Four 2015 or do I name it Fant 4 Stick?
I think its official name is Fantastic Four. I think.
Yeah.
But even I've read it down as Fant 4 Stick. But
yeah, everyone calls it Fant 4 Stick because that's what the bloody title says, you know. So.
And the posters and everything. Yeah.
If you watched it for free, well done you. If you had to pay for it or go out your way to find another way, sorry, but apparently it was available for free the whole time.
Yeah.
Anyway, did anyone watch this before having to do it for the show?
No.
Not all of it.
No. I actively avoided it.
Yeah, same.
I think we all did.
Sorry about that. But yes, Sam said released August 15. And this film famously had reshoots. So the budget figures for this are a bit off, a bit weird. I found one budget that said 120 million and another one that was 155. So I presume the 155 is post reshoots.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, with that information, how much do you think it made at the box office?
I think I read this earlier, so I'll stay quiet on this.
Oh god, you know what? I don't know. I feel like it won't have done like god awful because it's still Marvel property. Well, I mean, what at the time was it Fox or something? But
it was
still
Fox.
Marvel,
It was Fox, but it's still like Marvel characters and stuff. There's still that Marvel logo and stuff.
I remember it coming out very quickly that it was shit. Like literally maybe a day with it being in the cinemas. And that's the reason I don't know a single person who went to watch it in the cinemas because everyone was like, "It's shit, don't."
It wasn't.
So
it
I'm
wasn't
gonna
even
say,
like just that it was shit, though, was it? It was also that like the actual production issues came out very fucking quickly. So the entire discourse surrounded
Didn't Josh Trank wait? At what point did he think? Because I remember him being
before the movie came out. He tweeted so production had finished. And I've got it written down somewhere. We'll get to it eventually. Yeah, before it came out, he tweeted out basically saying, "Oh, a while ago, a fantastic film could have been made. The film that's coming out is not that film." So he famously was just shitting on it before it even came out.
Because I remember for a long time he was defending it, but I feel that was because he had a contract with the studio to finish it. And then as soon as it was out of his hands, he then instantly turned on them. I say turned on them. He did kind of fuck him around a bit.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, back to your original point, I'm going to guess about 50. It got around... Wait, is this overall or, like, opening weekend?
Box office. Overall box office.
Overall. I was going to say 50, but I'm going to go a bit higher than that. I'm going to go about 80 mil.
Okay, wow.
How much did you say it cost to make again?
155 after reshoots.
See, I was only going to go for like, cause I don't know. Like you say, I don't think it's done more. So 155. I'm just going to take a wild stab in the dark. 50.
Fuck me, that is low. You're both a bit low. So overall box office was 167 million.
Oh, okay.
It did make money.
When you take in marketing and stuff,
I'm
pretty sure it still would have lost money off that. Yeah, its opening weekend, the prediction for this, for the opening weekend, was between 40 and 50 million for opening weekend. Now, that range there is lower than both the 05 and 07 films got. So they were even predicting it was going to do worse than those films. Okay. And sure enough, it did. Opening weekend, its actual numbers were 25.6 million. So right out of the gate, it's a plat wank. Director, famously Josh Trank, who has done not Dune, as I made the mistake last week. He's done Capone, which apparently is fine, and Chronicle, which is another super-powered person film.
Like last week when we were talking about it, I said that I've heard that it's alright, that there's some good bits. And since then, I've only heard bad things about it. So,
wow. That sounds like Josh Trank, doesn't it?
It's kind of... It seems as more people have watched it, more people have realised that maybe it's not a good movie. So, I mean, I've not watched it, so I can't really give a judgment, but...
It's a weird one with Josh Trank, isn't it? Because, like... So... The movie... one of the best parts about this movie as far as reshoots go, and Jacob, you'll definitely touch on this, is... When Susan Storm is on screen, you know when something is a reshoot and when it's not.
Yes,
because of the wig game, right?
Oh my god!
So there is things that you can, while she's about, you can identify. This is a Josh Trank idea, and this is a Simon Kinberg idea, and both of these movies are both really shit. And then combined, they like work even less. I think it's just like someone saw, for whatever reason, someone at Fox saw Chronicle and said, we need to do that. And instead of doing it with like New Mutants or something where it would make sense for that kind of tone, they chose the Fantastic Four.
Oh, there's so much behind-the-scenes stuff behind for this.
Sorry?
Did they choose it for him, or did he get the choice to do it?
I don't know that much, to be honest with you.
Because it's a weird one.
I think I have something about it later on.
Okay.
But yeah, as Josh Trank and Kinberg weren't the only ones to write a script for this, or a screenplay. The first 6 months, the screenwriter was a guy called Jeremy Slater. But the first 6 months is the important bit. He was not the screenwriter for very long. He's done stuff like The Exorcist, the TV series Exorcist, and The Umbrella Academy. So he's got some experience in like.
I didn't really like that. I thought that was pretty shit.
It wasn't
to be honest
great.
with you.
It wasn't fantastic. Onto the cast itself. He's never called Mr. Fantastic, but Reed Richards is played by Miles Teller, who we know from Whiplash, not La La Land, War Dogs. Although the only reason he wasn't in La La Land was due to his shy performance in this. So one of the only good things about this movie is because Miles Teller was in it and he was so shit, we didn't get him in La La Land.
It's so horrible,
thank you,
isn't
Fantastic
it?
Four. It's
like watching him fucking phone it in for 90 minutes. I mean, that's the one good thing about this movie, is that it is only 90 minutes. God, could you imagine if this was 2 hours?
The original cut was over 2 hours.
Whoa.
See, I want to know, right? You know the guy who did La La Land and Whiplash? What's his name?
Damien
Chazelle. Damien Chazelle. Like, right. Either him and Miles Teller didn't really become friends or whatever while they were doing Whiplash. Or maybe if they did, and it was an awkward phone call he had to make to his mate saying, "Yeah, I'm not going to cast you in this film I'm doing because your last performance was utter shite."
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know because I mean, if they weren't friends, that's he probably doesn't even need to make that call. But if they were friends after Whiplash, it's like, so you know that film I was telling you about a while ago? Yeah. What role am I playing in it? Here's the thing, Mr. Fantastic. You weren't so much. So,
Mr. Fantastic. Inverted commas.
Yeah. I'm kind of like curious to know like whether they were friends or not. So he had to make that call. Would have been funny. Very awkward.
I think looking at this, Miles Teller and Toby Kebbell, who played Victor Von Doom, are the only two characters who haven't got any sort of comic book movie acting experience. Which is like, you've got your lead and your main antagonist haven't got any experience in that field. All the others have at least a little bit of experience of acting in a superhero movie.
Is that a
like,
bad
even
thing,
just a
though?
little bit.
Because, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston's were relative unknowns before Thor.
That's true.
You know what I mean? A lot of the people who are in Avengers haven't actually had, like, previous superhero movie experience. And Tom Holland, you know? They all do great. And in fact, Toby Kebbell, I think, is probably the person, along with Michael B. Jordan, who's trying the hardest for this movie. You know, for the relative effort of this
for the
movie.
role he was doing.
Yeah.
He's hardly in it, though. That's the thing. He's in it quite a lot as Victor Von Doom, and then Dr. Doom comes along, and it's... Oh, anyway, we'll get there. We've got Kate Mara Sue Storm. She was in House of Cards, The Martian, and very briefly in Iron Man 2. Michael B. Jordan is the Human Torch, or Johnny Storm. Much better in Black Panther as Killmonger.
Really?
He's also been he's fantastic in that. He's also been in Creed 1 and Creed 2. Jamie Bell is Ben Grimm, or The Thing. Even though he never really gets called that, except right at the end, but Jesus Christ, we'll get to that. Like Tom Holland, he's been in Billy Elliot.
Yes.
Which is kind of good. He was in Snowpiercer, which is that other one alongside Chris Evans.
That was good, you know. I was going to pick that ages ago, but then I couldn't find it again.
I am yet to watch that. He was in Rocketman, Tintin, and King Kong. In Tintin, he played Tintin, so he's done a bit of the mocap already.
Which King Kong was it?
2004, no, 2005 one.
Peter Jackson
one.
Yeah. The government guy is Tim Blake Nelson, who has been in other things. He was, again, relatively minor role in The Incredible Hulk.
He's also he's Kimmy's dad in Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
I have not seen Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, it's good, man. It's good. Would recommend.
He's in the new the Watchmen TV show that HBO did.
Oh, yeah, he is. He is in that.
Yeah.
He is.
He plays the kind of like Rorschach kind of character, doesn't he? With these like silver masks, kind of cool.
I like him in that.
Yeah.
Toby Kebbell is Victor Von Doom, who's been in Hurricane Heist.
Nice.
It's not good.
It doesn't sound good.
And he's been in some of the Planet of the Apes films. He was Koba, who is that evil ape.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Who uses machine guns. Supposedly.
Mad.
Yeah.
Isn't
so he's also got a bit of mocap stuff.
He was really good in. He played Duratan in Warcraft, one of the main orc character, and he was really fucking good in that. Honestly.
Fair enough.
Wow.
And then lastly, I've got the guy who played Franklin Storm, who was the dad of Sue and Johnny, is Reggie Cathy, who's been in House of Cards and Luke Cage. See, even he's done some minor Marvel experience. His voice. Oh, what a voice! That's
I agree.
Beautiful, beautiful voice. I managed to find some quotes from Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan about this film and playing their characters.
Okay.
So Miles Teller said, right, when I read the script, I didn't feel like I was reading this larger-than-life, incredible superhero tale. These are all very human people that end up having to become, I guess, what is known as the Fantastic Four. So for me, it was just a really good story and gives me an opportunity to play something different from my own skin. So,
Right.
even just from that script and his description,
if you decode that, it's like, when I read the script, it was really fucking boring. And I was just playing a regular guy.
There was no action.
yeah, that doesn't say much about anything good about this movie. Michael B. Jordan's quote is a little bit more. We'll see, right? So he says, "We're more or less a bunch of kids that had an accident, and we have disabilities now that we have to cope with and try and find a life afterwards. Try to be as normal as we can."
Wow.
What?
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I don't know about that.
Nope.
No. See, with him though, because he was in Chronicle, wasn't he? So I kind of get the feeling that maybe him and Josh Trank had a bit of established some kind of friendship in Chronicle, and that's why he was in this.
Yeah, probably.
So he kind of wants to defend his mate a bit with the film.
I mean,
but he kind of knows deep down that it's shite.
We don't know. Like, the one positive thing I'll say about this movie is, while it was around and it wasn't as good as it could have been, it was basically all shown off in the trailers already. But the aspect of what if the Fantastic Four but a body horror was quite interesting. There was that one little scene where it was kind of going on. And if the original script had more of that as a concept, look, it still wouldn't be a good Fantastic Four movie. It still should not be called Fantastic Four, but it at least would have had something.
Yeah. It's like, the thing with Fantastic Four is, I feel like, I don't know, it's a really difficult thing. For some reason, it's been really difficult for them to turn into a film. All versions of it's not been good. And I don't know whether it's just because it's the wrong people working on it, or if maybe there's something just about the concept that just doesn't work.
Well, I think you can do a superhero movie, a team superhero movie. You can do that, and you can do it successfully, unless you're DC.
Yeah.
But it can be done.
Was it you, Jacob, who said at one point, I think it might have been you, we were talking about the Fantastic Four, and you just said, or someone said, you just set it in the 60s.
I have said that.
I said that.
Oh, it was you, Joe.
We've all said that.
Just like that fucking, that fixes it, because I think the inherent issue with Fantastic Four is it's kind of cheesy, but if you play, kind of like the first Avenger, Captain America, that is a golden era comic book on the silver screen, on the big screen, and it works because it's set in the 40s. You set this in the 60s, the job's good.
Well, see, this when originally, because I think, you know what it'll be, the reason, because me and my mate were talking about that's where we came up with the idea for it to be the 60s. And I think I remember telling you, Jacob, that idea, and you were like, you know what, you said that you had the same idea.
Yeah.
And because I think the way we got thingy was because me and my mate were talking about this film and how absolute shite we'd heard it was. This was around 2015, and how bad we heard it was. And we were talking what they should do is they should kind of have it so they're in the 60s round with Hank Pym. Is it Pym? Which
Hank
the
Pym.
first that man?
Yeah.
Hank Pym, yeah. Have it around him and have it around the woman who's his wife, and have them kind of all be a kind of mini 60s kind of shield group, and that's how they should do it. I don't know how they would then I don't know how then they would maybe add it to the main kind of storyline in the modern day. I don't know, but
wormholes,
time travel,
wormholes. They go to space, wormhole, come back. This is the future.
See, you know what they could do, right? Now that they have the X-Men and stuff, they could realistically, they could make a kind of multiverse style thing. They could introduce it in Doctor Strange, where because Reed Richards is meant to be the smartest man in the world or whatever, he could be the Tony Stark of another universe. A universe where the X-Men exist, and he opens a portal or a wormhole or something to the main Marvel universe or something like that. You know what I mean? That's where you get the link, and that's where you get kind of the X-Men coming into it and stuff as well.
That feels very comic booky.
Well, yeah, exactly. Comic books in it?
I mean, I know, but this is the kind of stuff that turns people off comic books.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like they're working up to it with the idea of different dimensions and all the alternate timelines and stuff. But I'm curious to see how they're going to weave it in. But hopefully,
if they're gonna,
they'll actually think about it.
If they do anything like that, I feel like we're gonna get a hint of it in the Doctor Strange film.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like, I feel like that's where they're gonna test the water for multiverse and see how people feel about it. They did a bit of it in Spider-Man, but then instantly went back on it and was like, lol, not real.
Do you know what? Do you know what makes me laugh about that though? Genuinely, because all the fucking comic book news websites were getting all up in hiss like when that trailer came out. They were like, "Oh, Mysterio's from another other Earth exists," and I was like, "Mysterio's literally a con man in every continuity. Why do you believe him, you morons?"
So daft. Back to this much worse movie. Even from like the original trailers, like even like Sam, you were saying, it looked like it was going to be something way better than it was. And looking at some of the alternate casting for this, it felt like that as well. So Reed Richards, someone else they had in mind to play him was Adrian Brody, who's been in Peaky Blinders. He was in King Kong as well, and Predators. He's older than Miles Teller, but I reckon he would have been better than him.
Yeah. There
were a couple of screen tests with Kit Harington and Richard Madden.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
As who?
Reed Richards.
Oh, Richard Madden would have made a really good one, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Not Kit Harington, but Richard Madden.
Imagine him trying to do a fucking New York accent.
Oh. Yeah, you make a point.
Yeah.
He just plays like a northerner instead. Like,
hey, you're Mr. Fantastic.
You know,
come on, Sue. Let's get into Fantastic Car. Hey,
I actually can't even remember a single line from this film to try and do like a thingy. All the lines are so forgettable that I can't even remember one.
There's one that I remember, and we'll definitely get to it.
Ooh.
God, I can't remember.
There was some screen tests for the character of Sue Storm as well. So we had Margot Robbie screen test for this.
Oh my God.
Emmy Rossum.
Oh, do you know who that is? That's movie 2004 Phantom of the Opera's Christine.
It is.
Oh shit!
Wow.
And I hate reading this name. What's the name of the one who was in Lady Bird and Hannah and Mary Queen of Scots alongside Margot Robbie?
Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse, I always forget. She also screen tested for Sue Storm.
Oh wow, she'd have been quirky.
So, huh?
She'd have been like a quirky Sue.
I reckon so. Well, either way, any of them.
Yeah, it would have been better.
Would have been better.
Yeah.
There was some alternate casting. Well, The Thing also had some other names attached. Bizarrely, Kiefer Sutherland as the Thing.
I kind of love it though. I kind of love it in a weird way.
And one that I wish I think would have been good. Terry Crews has publicly expressed playing the Thing. Like, he really wants to.
I'd be down for that, you know.
I would be down for that. I think that would be...
I think he would make a really good Thing, but it would be weird seeing him as Ben Grimm. He's too energetic for Ben Grimm, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's already, like, really muscular, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be really weird.
CGI his face onto another body.
Yeah.
Which would look
it's like they did
strange, but...
You know what? They did it in Captain America with Chris Evans.
Yeah, but Terry Crews' head is enormous.
What if they just got a different actor to play Ben Grimm and then Terry Crews was the Thing? There was just two different people entirely. But
I mean, that could work, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. There was some... Doctor Doom is interesting. So they had Domhnall Gleeson.
Okay.
Could have been Doctor Doom.
Do you know what? I really like Doctor Doom as a character in the comics. I'm pretty protective, and him playing that character would be a very different Doom to what I know, but in a way that I think I'd actually quite like.
Another suggested name was Eddie Redmayne. I don't know about
No.
No, I'm going to say no.
There's other Marvel villains that he would play better.
He's been in much better stuff than this.
Do you remember that
Fantastic
villain?
Beasts as well.
Do you remember Thor, the one that Christopher Eccleston was in?
The Dark World.
The Dark World.
Yeah. That character that he plays in the comics is really, really flamboyant and over the top. And obviously they didn't decide to translate any of that at all. Eddie Redmayne would have made a good version of Malekith, that's his name.
Yeah. And my favourite bit of alternate casting, another actor playing this role, Mads Mikkelsen auditioned to play Doctor Doom.
Fuck off!
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's really good!
That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
That's really good.
He walked out of the audition saying it was mad and wrong. He walked out.
He's right.
Oh my God.
He's fucking right. Right, okay.
Sorry for everyone else.
Fucking, like, this movie was so bad at the time that I remember, like, wanting to... I, like, started work on, like, a treatment for, like, a good Fantastic Four movie, like, straight away. I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
this is so bad. I actually want to I want to make good out of this. At the time, I thought Anthony Head would make a really good Doctor Doom, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah.
But like, as soon as you said Mads Mikkelsen, fucking hell,
That'd be
that's
sick.
so perfect. Like
Yeah.
a prop. Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe in the future, who knows? I'd like to see that.
See, I feel like when they do it with the like MCU, you got to pick the Doctor Doom very carefully.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
Doctor
agree.
Doom's got to be. He can't just be in one film. He can't just be a one film
Yeah.
enemy. You know what I mean? He's like a huge villain in the Marvel universe. He needs to be like maybe not the next Thanos, but you know what I mean? Like pretty up there.
Yeah, yeah.
He needs
like
to
a
be in a few
Loki-esque
films.
almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
He needs to be
still
like
threatening.
evil. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know what he
more
needs to
threatening
be?
than Loki.
He needs to be like evil Tony Stark is what he needs to be. You know what I mean? Like he needs to
Yeah.
like it's like we're missing that kind of character, that brilliant whatever kind of scientist guy in the Marvel universe, because he's obviously man's dead. But they could replace him with someone evil instead. I think that would introduce a nice new like dynamic almost.
When the
Dynamic,
merger
that word.
happened,
Oh, well.
that I thought that the most valuable thing they got was Doctor Doom. And it's like it's one of these that I think if your only perception of Doctor Doom is all of the Fantastic Four movies, you probably don't realize what a valuable asset that character is.
Yeah.
But in the right hands, written the right way, fuck, so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, onto a bit of information about the production, and there's a bit of this because it's fucking interesting how badly they managed to fuck it. They announced that this reboot was happening in 2009, which is 2 years after Rise of the Silver Surfer came out. Which is mad.
I've never seen
the only
that
reason
one.
this film got made is because of the contract Fox has with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
They have to make a reboot I'm not sure if it's every 5 years, but every so often. If not, the rights revert back to Marvel, and they can do whatever they want with the character, which didn't happen. Although Marvel did offer Fox an extension on making another Daredevil movie to get the rights to the Fantastic Four back.
I remember that, yeah.
So we could have had the Fantastic Four back home with Marvel way sooner, but we would have got a shitty Daredevil. As it is, I think we got a cracking Daredevil TV series, and we got the Fantastic Four rights back at Marvel anyway. So, oh well.
Worked out.
I mean, to be fair, the only difference probably would have been there would have been one less of one of the films that we have, like one of the other films, and that Civil War would have that whole like Sue Storm, Reed Richards thing.
Nah, they wouldn't have. No, because they
I don't
break
know
up
that
in the
early.
they break up in the comic.
Well, yeah.
But it only
Yeah,
works because you
exactly.
know them as. They wouldn't have happened in like Civil War. in the movie.
if they introduced him in that film, they probably wouldn't have done. But if they had the rights a lot, I mean, when was this whole? I don't know when this Daredevil Fantastic
neither.
Four thing was. If it was as they were starting to do the MCU, they could have done Fantastic Four as one of the first few films.
Okay, yeah,
and
that's
then we
fair.
knew them as much as some of the others. And by the time we got to Civil War, because like them two, they're like main characters in Civil War, the comic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, and so like you come to like that, maybe by then we would have known them enough that it would have been like a shock that they really split up. I mean, that's depending on whether or not it was a good film, or they just put like in this alternate universe where they did make a Fantastic Four film. For all we know, it could have just been the Hulk, could have been well shit, and they just leave them to be other characters in other people's films. So who knows? But that's a whole other universe.
True. Just soon after they announced that they were gonna make another Fantastic Four film, this guy, Jeremy Slater, was appointed as the screenwriter, and he wrote a script. And Josh Trank decided to write his own script, even though he was not the screenwriter, but he decided to do it anyway. Trank read Slater's script, and Slater described it as taking inspiration from the Avengers. Do any of you guys know what Josh Trank thinks of the Avengers film?
I can't imagine he thinks highly of it.
No.
Do you want to take any? I've got a quote. Does anyone want to take a guess at what he could have said?
It's going to be something ludicrous, so I have no clue.
Does he compare it to like a TV movie or something?
Not in the.
I mean, to be fair, I've done that. It does look a bit like a TV movie.
Fair.
I can imagine it's something on the lines of. I mean, he wouldn't say it outright, but they figured out how to fucking make a film about a team of superheroes. Why the fuck can't I do that? You know what I mean? Probably something along those lines.
Something really self-referential.
He's like, "What's the secret? Where do I find?"
Josh Trank said he
Where
just
can I learn
fucking
this
hated
power?
every second of it.
Wow.
Of Avengers from
Jesus.
2012.
How miserable do you have to be?
Right?
That just, that to me tells me that he's jealous that they figured out how to do it and he couldn't. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Like, right, you know a thing, right? Have you ever heard the story about Ridley Scott and Star Wars, and how Star Wars was the reason he made Alien? Be like,
No.
He was apparently right. He was making another film, another sci-fi, and then in 1977 he went to watch Star Wars because there was all this hype, and as he was watching it, he realised the film he was making was utter shite compared to what he was watching on the screen, which then led him to scrap it, and it led to him then making Alien, because he wanted to expand on this kind of used universe style thing.
That's amazing.
Interesting.
That right there, right? That's a good story of someone being like, right, someone's done something better. I'm gonna just, they've done that good thing. Let me see what I can do. Whereas he's like, oh man, that's well good. Why the fuck can't I do that? Oh, that's
it's those moments
now,
in history where someone like watches the bar get raised and they're conscious of it and they're like, fuck, we need to rethink this. Yeah, I agree. That is a cool story.
So, so just, like, even from the start, the director and the screenwriter were not getting on. Trank wouldn't show Slater any of the notes he had of the script and wouldn't invite him to meetings about it.
Wow, it's like a schoolyard.
Yeah.
Exactly. Trank he's a child, utterly. He's just throwing all his toys out the pram and just grumpy piece of shit. Trank said that his film had an overall feel of a cross between Steven Spielberg and Tim Burton.
Oh my god. You know what? If I ever saw Josh Trank in the street, I would actively cross the road and then shout "Fantastic Four was shite" and then just carry on walking. You know what I mean? Everything you tell me about him's making me not like him more.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more. There's more. You're gonna hate him even more by the end of this.
God.
How do you miss the bar that much? Tim Burton and Steven Spielberg. Right, okay, real talk. That sounds like a bit of a match made in heaven. That does feel like two styles that would blend very, very well to create a whimsical, fun time, Josh. Fucking hell.
Yeah. So Kinberg was brought in to finalise the script back in 2014, brought in by the studio. And so that's when we had all those screen tests with all those alternate castings, which would have been way better. Trank was difficult with Kate Mara on set, always, because he wanted to cast someone else. So he has been quoted as bullying her on set because he didn't like her and wants to cast someone else.
What a prick.
So, yep, there's that. There were also reshoots, as we all know. That was in 2015, ordered by the studio, because they felt it felt like a sequel to Chronicle, his other superhero film.
Yeah.
So they tried to change it a bit. And they did that without Trank's supervision. So, no, we're going to reshoot it, just fuck off. We're doing it. Get out of
here. Wasn't he allegedly locked out of the edit suite?
You know what? I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine it. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like Josh Trank made Chronicle, and everyone was like, "That was good. I enjoyed that." But in his head, he's hearing, "That was amazing. You're like the best director ever. You're like so amazing at directing." And then now all of a sudden he's going into Fantastic Four, and he's like, "I made Chronicle. I made I made Chronicle. That was me. I did that." And they're all kind of like, "All right, great. Superhero found footage film."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not an original idea, really, is it? The bare bones of it.
As well as not getting on with Kate Mara on set, he pushed the studio to cast Miles Teller in this film. First mistake. Well, not even first mistake. One of many.
Yeah.
And then would try and start fights with him on set. Like, they'd be throwing punches at each other.
I mean, I've heard stories.
Pushed to cast Miles Teller. Was like, no, we're having him. I want him. Gets him on set. Nah, fucking punch his nose in.
Can you imagine that? Director's coming on to pass notes. Josh casually walks on, just goes, "Boom! Do it again, but better!" And walks off.
Oh man. See, the thing is, right? Like you've already heard the stories about Miles Teller being awkward on set, but like it's like the two of them are the same person, but because it's like when you put like the bolt that. It's like when you put the same end of a magnet together and they just kind of go like that, you know what I mean? That's what it's like. They're probably the exact same person, but in different roles, and they just hate each other for it.
So
that's probably what it is.
Yeah, making this movie was not the best environment, apparently, for making this, but they still did. Why? But yeah, so the movie itself, right, starts off, we're in a classroom, it's 2007. And it's career days. They're going up saying what they want to do when they're older. And we get Reed Richards going up saying, I want to build a teleporter. That's what I want to be. I want to be a big scientist man making teleports and all this sort of stuff. The teacher sat to the side just, who the fuck do you think you are? Sit down, teleports aren't real, do it again.
Scientists aren't real, Reed. That's not a real thing you can be.
I've had some like crap teachers in my day, but that guy, he's way worse. Way worse.
Isn't it the guy? Isn't he played by the guy who does Homer Simpson's voice?
He is. Yeah. Which is
that's Dan Castellaneta. I didn't even realise.
It's mad, that, isn't it?
Stupid Reed.
Yeah. We also meet Ben Grimm, who's just sat at the back and looks at his nerdy notebook as he walks past. Also, right, if a teleporter's not realistic, why doesn't he film it or take some pictures and show them? Go, look at this teleporter I've made. Look at this video of it working. But, yeah, whatever. Then we cut to the scrapyard and Reed's there trying to nick some shit from an old broken down car, and he shows Ben this teleport eventually. But only after Ben's brother, like, threatens him. He goes, "Oh, it's clobbering time," as he goes to beat up his little brother. Yeah, your combined reaction there is exactly yeah. That I think that just sums everything up. Yeah, it shows up he's got this teleporter. Yeah,
it's made worse by the fact that he says it later on in the movie. If it was, it's already bad that you're taking the catchphrase and twisting it in this way, but it's made worse that he keeps it as the catchphrase.
Yeah.
He's shown that this teleporter works. He teleports like a Mustang and gets like this weird dust back. And then it's 7 years later, and they're at a science fair. How old are these guys supposed to be? Right?
They've got to be like Thingy, haven't they? They're still in high school, so they've got to be like.
But they're stood next to actual children, though.
Yeah. If it had been like some like teenage movies, they get 20-something-year-olds, but the whole school is cast as 20-something-year-olds. So it's weird, but it kind of fits. It kind of works. He just nicks this little plane off a literal kid.
Yeah.
Ugh. And it's the same science teacher as well. He's had the same fucking teacher for 7 years.
Yeah.
And
He keeps getting held back. That's what it is.
apparently, somehow.
Yeah.
And he gets disqualified from the science fair for doing magic rather than actual science. Even if you didn't believe that he'd teleported this plane to a different dimension and back, the fucking lasers and a blue ball and an explosion and shattering like a fucking basketball hoop from half a court away. That's still pretty fucking impressive.
He's done something, magic. Even if you don't understand it. He's done something.
But I guess they just wanted that, like, volcanoes that bubble over with, like, vinegar and baking soda. But, anyway, Franklin and Sue Storm rock up. For some reason, they're just walking around going to science fairs. Just, why?
They work essentially for this universe equivalent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're hanging around at school science fairs with us 8-year-olds.
It's the fact that they just, like, thingies, though. He doesn't even say, like, you know what, we've got this program. Why aren't you coming for an interview? He's like, you've got a scholarship. He's like fucking Oprah with scholarships. You've got a scholarship. You've got a scholarship. Check under your chairs. You've all got scholarships. Fucking throwing them out. You know what I mean? It's like meaningless.
So
he just drops in on him.
Yeah, it's at this point they go, you, Mr. Reed Richards, you've just discovered interdimensional travel. What? And they go, oh look, we'll prove it to you. Here, Sue Storm, show him the jar of dirt that you've got. Does she just carry that around with her everywhere they go in case they bump into someone at a science fair who's happened to also build the same thing as them?
I like to imagine, right, that on a night out, she does the line verbatim, you know? Oi, you slimy git! Look what I got!
I got a jar of dirt. Holds it up above her head. Like in Pirates of the Caribbean crossover.
Yeah.
But they move to New York and we see the Baxter Building. This is the most underwhelming reveal of anything I've ever seen. Just pans up. All right, we've got like this city tower block that just says Baxter on the side of it. All right, that's the Baxter Building.
Do they even like Fantastic Four? Like, for real?
Do you reckon he like he bought all the comics to read and then he was like, he just saw him on his desk and was like, oh, that looks like a lot of work. I'll just get straight to it. And he just looked at the pictures maybe and was like,
he just brought up the Marvel wiki page for the Fantastic Four, went to the references section and made sure all of that was in the movie.
He just watched the Watch Mojo or Superhero Origin video on YouTube.
Well,
and then watched the Dr. Zoom one. And was like, it's fine, that's all I need to know.
I was curious to see how boring this building is in the comics. And in some versions it is just pretty much a tower block, but the inside has like a rocket in one corner and labs on every level. Yeah. But there's some fantastic renders of where someone has taken the Avengers Tower that they sold in Spider-Man Homecoming and replaced the A with a 4.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we're getting.
That's still my fan theory. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's going to be the Baxter Building.
See, that's what it. This is right. Going back briefly to my thing before about him being like another universe is Tony Stark. He could literally replace all of it with fucking Reed Richards. You know what I mean? It would work so well.
He's a bit of a cunt as well in the comics as well, so you wouldn't really have an issue.
He's not a good bloke.
He could literally be like fucking another universe's Tony Stark.
But,
missed opportunities.
We get this. See, I've written down. We get a sweet moment where Ben Grimm gives Reed Richards a little penknife, because it's the penknife he used when he was fixing the teleporter. And I've written, this is a kind of sweet moment, but I think I've only really noticed it because I've been sat watching it, writing down everything that happens. Like, it's only nice because I'm taking notes on a movie. If I wasn't writing down, trying to analyze it or whatever, I wouldn't have noticed that. Totally forgetting.
I did forget about it.
Yeah.
But like the relationship you get, at least at the start, between Ben and Reed, it's quite a nice, like, they're good mates relationship. But we don't get enough of that because it all just, oh my god.
He just fucks off for a bit, doesn't he? Ben Grimm, he just disappears for like
comes back later because he's his mate. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you're gonna come with us, right?
Yeah. Reed meets Sue in the library again, and they have this weird, awkward convo, and she only likes listening to music because she likes patterns.
So weird.
Right?
What?
Yeah. he sits down and you get that he's supposed to be awkward. He's like, so you like music? He's like, I like patterns.
What is that scene as well? I'm sorry, was that flirting? Is that Josh Trank's version of flirting? Because later on in the movie, because they have that one interaction directly, and then they don't have any more direct interactions in the entire rest of the movie. But Franklin Richards is like,
one,
do they?
Where she has to explain why she's white. Because they're like, so you're adopted because your dad's black, and he's like, yes. It felt like, you know, in that one Transformers movie where they're like, oh, I'm dating this girl, but it's legal because I have this card that's like
was that a fucking legal?
Says, it felt like that. It was.
Fucking hate Transformers.
You have a love-hate relationship with that franchise, I swear.
So, well, all right, they have two interactions, okay, and after that, when he goes missing, Franklin Richards is like, you need to go after Reed because he'll listen to you. Based on what? Based on what evidence? What he did was he sat down while she was busy listening to something, distracted her, asked her if she knew about something, she did, and then he mansplained it to her anyway.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
You know what it's like, right? It makes me think that he was writing the story for this film, and then he went to a party, and he was like, oh, yeah, I'm making a Fantastic Four film. And then someone went, oh, is Reed Richards and Sue Storm, are they going to get together in it? He's like, they get together? What are you on about? And he's like, yeah, the husband and wife in the comics. And he's like, shit. All right, it's fine. I'll add a scene. It's all good. You just convert. You know, that's what it feels like. It's like he forgot. And someone just let him know.
The next scene after this, they're in a boardroom, and he's like, oh yeah, we're bringing back Victor Von Doom because we need him for the project. Okay, go and get him. So that's how Dr. Doom comes along. He turns out he's just some mopey little boy who gets upset that he got fired for, like, vandalizing something or other. Anyway, it's not important. That's the introduction. We don't get that character.
We don't even find out what he did he? It's just like, you can't have him on the project because he's
to something, I think. It's briefly mentioned. He's like, he burnt down all your stuff. What do you want him back for? Oh, we need him. Clearly you don't. As we find out later, you don't. Anyway.
You don't need him, no.
We're back at the Baxter building in the big science lab. And Sue Storm's hair is different. That's probably the most important thing in this scene. But they're looking at where this other dimension, and they somehow managed to get images back. Because the drone got exploded, but they can transmit data between one dimension and another because of the story, I guess, or something.
Doesn't it take, like, actual years for images to come back from, like, satellites we send to other planets?
Yeah.
So it's not even like while the wormhole's open, they can transmit stuff between. It's just nothing. They can just see images because
they
just stream it on Twitch.
Get, like,
it's like instant.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, because didn't we, like, just get pictures from, like, Jupiter from, like, 13 years ago or something? And we've only just got them or something like that. Or it's only just got there or something like that, and we've only just got the images, something like that. And yet they can just fucking WhatsApp the pictures to each other.
Yeah.
It's got someone fucking DMing him from the other dimension.
We get this line, right, where Victor Von Doom's going over all the data, and he's like, yes, data. And he makes some comment about how everything's fucked, the world's fucked. And Sue Storm goes, oh, hey, check out Dr. Doom over here.
Oof.
I hate it.
But we keep going. Maybe it gets better. It doesn't, but maybe.
We've seen it.
We meet Johnny Storm, and he's, in case you didn't know, he was going to become the Human Torch. There's a little Mario flower power-up hanging from his rear-view mirror, and he's doing some driving, and you think, oh, okay, so he's going to become the Human Torch, and his car's a bit broken, it's not working properly. I wonder if it will catch on fire. It does. It catches on fire because he's the Human Torch, and that's oh look, fire, foreshadowing.
He's surrounded by fire his whole life.
No. So he loses the car and he breaks his arm, or it's a sprain. Either way, it's in a sling. and his dad says, "You're only having this car back if you come and work for me, because you're one of the Fantastic Four and we need you in this film. So come and work for me, please, to get your car back."
No, you're right though, because it does, like, it's all so contrived, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so contrived.
Yeah.
Like when they get the Thing back, I won't go into detail, but it's just like he wasn't there for half the movie, and now he's got to be there because he's one of the Fantastic Four.
Yep. And then we get this scene, and okay, so Johnny Storm comes to the lab, and he sees Victor Von Doom. What does he say to him? Is that Adolf? And just he says, is like, wait, what? And Victor's response is, still not German.
Is it based purely on his name?
What?
Is it because of the Von?
Did he...
I mean,
just call him Hitler.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Because
That's
he's got
racist, I'm pretty sure. And Hitler was Austrian.
Yeah.
Is he just saying, you're not American? Haha, you're Adolf Hitler. What?
The Americans.
Anyway, we get a build montage of them building something. And it finishes off with this really shit CGI, all these pieces coming together. It looks so bad. Bless you. And that's
Thank
in
you.
the final movie. Like, you know when they have like concepts of, in an advert for a car, we'll just have a quick... the windscreen comes on here and the wheels go on. They do that in an actual Hollywood movie, and it looks...
$155 million.
The really weird thing about that scene is, though, you see it literally come to piece together from nothing in that sequence. Yet just before that sequence, we've seen a montage of them, like, casually talking around it already half constructed. They're like stood on like half of it built, and then all of a sudden it's built from nothing. It's just got, you know what I mean? Like it's like like I saw it and I was like, the room was fucking empty again. Yeah, I've just watched them fucking talk on top of some like machinery as they're building it.
It's one of these, isn't it, where it's like
welding shit. I'm like, what's going on?
It's one thing if production issues has made you lock your director out of the editing suite, but you should at least have let the fucking editor into the suite.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's okay because Sue Storm's hair's different again. That's not okay. That's still bad. But this is when they have that weird conversation about how her brother and dad are black because she's adopted.
Yeah.
Like just have it happen. Don't explain it. Just.
Yeah, I mean, I just assumed. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, you're just like,
I don't need the description. I just assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a white mom, you know, and there was a predominant gene, that can happen.
Yeah.
Where it just sways more towards one parent. It's really not. Yeah.
Exactly. It's you know what I mean? It's just, we don't need a whole conversation about it.
Yeah. But
I'm at least glad they didn't have to do it in reverse as some kind of meta comment as well, where someone also asked Johnny Storm why he was black, you know? Ooh. Where they just pulled up a picture of the original comic just out of nowhere and went, hang about.
What's going on?
You're not Chris Evans.
I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, me too. And then it's about time they're testing the machine for the first time. First biological tests, and they put in a little baby CGI chimp, strap him in, and they send off the shuttle ship machine, whatever you want to call it. They send it off.
The Whirly Daily.
The Whirly Daily. Nice. They get a live feed back from this planet. A live feed. That's not how that works.
Maybe
Twitch.tv/the Baxter Building.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. They have a whole thing, they have a whole building. This is one big massive room. Surely they must be doing other things in this building. And to be fair, when you look at this massive room looks underground. So, what the fuck are they doing in the actual... Maybe they're developing new cameras? New live feed things? Maybe Twitch was built actually in this room?
That's what
maybe
Zoom was
in this
invented.
universe. Yeah. Maybe it's called... maybe Zoom is called, like, Baxter instead in this universe. And in this universe's COVID-19 outbreak, everyone was like, "Get on that Baxter or whatever," and you know. This is also a universe where Rockman exists, so you know.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something that's really weird is they get all these readings and pictures back, and they all seem really surprised, as if they've never seen them before. So they decide to get all these readings and images on the first biological test. Like, they say they've sent a drone over, but they didn't seem to look at any of the data or anything, because they all seem really surprised by it. And the dad, Franklin Storm, seems to suggest, this will answer so many questions that we haven't known the answers to before, like the origin of species. What? Life came from another dimension and just built itself a dimension jumping machine, jumped over to this one, and anyway, Storm's hair's different again, and Dr. Allen, that government guy who was in the Hulk, says, "Right, we did it, great job, let's go contact NASA, we'll get an astronaut team together and we'll send them over." That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Astronauts they have trained for travel in space. They've done all of that. They're smart. They're actual scientists. You have to be really smart to be an astronaut. And
the whirly-durly spins, and they do that the spin training.
Do that vomit comet. So they also, it's genuinely that thing they spin round in. It's called the vomit comet.
Is it actually called the vomit comet? That's amazing.
Genuinely, because you get off it and you throw up because you've just been spun at a lot of G's. But yeah, but I mean, they all start kicking up a fuss because they can't go because they built it, so they get drunk on one flask of vodka.
Americans.
I mean, this is where you can see. This is where you can see what a fucking child Josh Trank is. It's in his writing.
Yeah.
Throwing a fucking history theory, can't get what he wants.
Like, to be fair, how old's bloody Reed Richards meant to be here? You've just seen him in high school. I can't imagine he's any older than
supposedly he's like 17 or 18.
I mean, if we look at his peers, he's clearly 6.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, and so they're all thingy then. They're all he alone. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets fucking pissed off a single flask, because he's like, "Ooh, alcohol, go on then."
Well, supposedly he's never drunk before, because he has that line where he's like, "Alcohol kills brain cells." So he's
fucking hell.
Yeah, he'd get drunk quick. But there are 3 of them all sharing this one flask of vodka. I'm presuming it's vodka. It could be, I don't know, moonshine or just bleach. I don't know. Wish it was bleach. Just kill them off. Just end the movie there. But they're all just fucking crybabies because they can't go to a different dimension. Their mad interdimensional traveling machine works, and they decide to throw a hissy fit because they can't go. And they have this line.
Speaking of crybabies, go on, Jacob. Sorry, no, go on.
So they all say, everyone knows who Neil Armstrong is. No one knows who built the rocket. That's a lot of people who built that rocket. That's so many names. And also Apollo 11, they've been doing space travel for so much before then. There are so many people who went into making that. They just want to be famous, and they think the only way that's going to happen is by going to a different dimension first.
And how are we supposed to relate to that? You know what I mean? It's so fucking shallow, and how do I get behind that? Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of crybabies, right? We got lots of fucking misery and fucking moaning in this movie, right? I want to propose a brand new segment of the show. So, last week we discussed the number of times that Bella Swan smiled in Twilight with 35, right? So I decided to think, who's the saddest character in this movie? And let's track how many times they smile.
Oh my god.
So,
brilliant.
So, what we're having, right, is name TBD, the happiest sad character championship, right? Current champion, tail of the tape, current champion, Bella Swan. She moved somewhere she wanted to move, but also she didn't want to be there. She likes all her friends, but also hates them all, and she literally wants to die. Bella Swan, 35 smiles. Who else have we got? So in this movie, we have not 1, but 2 contenders to the throne. Okay?
Okay.
Place your fucking bets, ladies and gentlemen. In one corner, Victor Von Doom, Sometimes he's the leader of an entire fictional country. In this one, he's a fucking crybaby who only joins the team because he wants to go to the Bone Zone with Sue Storm. Versus...
Is that the name of the other dimension?
The Bone Zone. And in the opposite corner, the other challenger, Ben Grimm, a boy who's characterized by the fact that his catchphrase is said to him while his older brother beats the fucking shit out of him, who doesn't know any of these characters and rocks up at the last minute for convenience sake. So, place your bets. Bella Swan, Ben Grimm, Victor Von Doom. Who's taking the title?
Who's the most miserable, so Smiles the least.
Who's the happy... So it's the happiest sad character. The most smiles from the character you don't expect.
Bella Swan. Surely.
So we got one for Bella. Bella, reminder, was 35.
I'm going to go Ben Grimm.
Ben Grimm.
I mean, Grimm and Doom are both pretty, sad surnames as well, aren't they? Like, one's called Grimm, the other one's called Doom.
I'm gonna go Doom, actually.
Wow, so one bet for every single one. Why have you voted for him then? It's the most smiles. It's not the least smiles. It's the most smiles from the saddest character.
Never mind then. Let me back up a bit there. I'm going to do the Ben Grimm then, in that case.
Okay, 2 for Ben, 1 for the champion. So, champion, 35 times. Doctor Doom.
Oh, fucking hell.
7 times.
Oh, right. Oh, no, it's fine. I changed
Ben Grimm. 4 times.
Bloody hell.
Ooh.
Oh dear.
He is hardly in this movie, isn't he?
I also think the fact that no one ever brings up how little they smile says more about the misogynistic take on Twilight than anything else. But regardless, Bella Swan is still your happiest sad character champion. Congratulations, Bella.
Very nice. Love that. They decide while drunk that they're going to be the ones who travel into a different dimension for the first time. And why is Johnny Storm going? Because he helped build it, I guess, along with hundreds of other people who helped construct it. All right.
I'll tell you why he's going. Do you know why he's going? Because he's the Human Torch. That's the reason he's going. That's the only reason.
I think I might have answered the next question then. I've got, why should Ben go? He's not even in the city and has nothing to do with this, really. He's just Reed's friend from school who helped him move in. Why is he going to another dimension? Do you have an answer, Joe?
I think it might be because he's the Thing. That's the reason he's going.
Wow. All right, here's one for you. Why isn't Sue Storm going? Because it doesn't matter if you go or not. Question. You can just be there and still get powers. You can just stand outside and still get your powers from it. So Johnny didn't need to go. Ben didn't need to go. None of them had to go. They could just stood round there, sent it back, boom, powers.
Yeah. See, I'll tell you the reason she didn't go is because Josh Trank looked at the design for the machine with 5 doors instead of 4 and was like, no, gotta have 4. Why, Josh? It's the Fantastic Four, but Sue doesn't even go. So, and what? We'll just stick her in the room. It's fine.
I would have sent her if it wasn't Kate Mara.
Yeah.
Literally.
So then, Human Torch says, "Oh, what's Borat doing here?" He calls Victor Von Doom Borat because
he does.
of his really non-American accent, or because he's not American.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's quite curious, isn't it, to keep giving the person of color like racially charged dialogue.
Yeah, it's it just doesn't. They all get in the machine in the do whirly hickey no thing. They get in it, and they can remote launch. Why would you build an interdimensional traveling device that you can launch remotely? Oh, in case someone wants to steal it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all their dialogue...
Where's it gone? We must be able to track him. Oh, sorry, officer. It's in another fucking dimension.
Yeah. All the dialogue when they get there is just so... I can't remember any of it. I've just got written in bold because it was just horrific. And there's a big green earthquake and Victor Von Doom falls into it because he has to
He's the bad guy.
He's the bad guy, yeah.
Because he's the bad guy.
And Sue's able to communicate with them again. No delay.
See, right, this is the thing that irritated me because, right, she's in a room, when she gets the alert that something's going on, she's in a room with other people. So she sees that they're sneaking off with this multi-million-dollar thing that they spent months building that literally allows you to travel to another dimension. And she's like, shit, better keep this one to myself. I'll just go sort it out on my own. Like, what the fuck? You'd think if it has the functions to manually to control it while in the booth, you'd think that it also has controls to override that and stop it from whichever room she's sat in at the time. Or be like, nah, fuck this, you're not going. Like, fuck, you know what I mean? Like, just so many,
But they're able to remote launch there, but they can't remote launch back. Feels like a bit of a design flaw, but...
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. And they're able to communicate with her instantaneously, despite being a different dimension. Right. If they manage... If that's what their interdimensional zoom's like, what's their normal zoom like? How quickly can they communicate? Do they, like, reply to questions before they even get answered? Like the real world? Because that sounds impressive. But we get more foreshadowing because Johnny gets set on fire in his pod and Ben gets covered in rocks. So he's going to become a rock monster. He's going to become a fire monster. Reed just sort of sits there.
He just gets trapped under a fucking piece of brick or something, I guess.
And Sue gets, like, thrown backwards, which is why she gets her invisible powers. Alright.
Because she gets thrown away from the disaster, so you can't see her in the disaster area anymore. She's over there. But because she can't see her in the disaster area, she gets invisible powers.
But yeah,
what are, like, better ways to do that? Maybe she was wearing, like, camo pants. And they kind of merged with her.
It's like you know what it's like, right? It's like Josh Trank was writing that scene and he was like, okay, so he becomes the thing so he can get covered in rocks. Oh man, he goes on fire so he can catch fire. And then he realised that the rest of them the other two don't really have things that they could do that would make them any different.
He thought to himself, I fucking wish Kate Mara wasn't here. And then he had the idea to turn her invisible.
Oh, yeah, there you go, yeah.
What a dick. I fucking hate this guy.
You know what he should have done? He should have had thingy. He should have had Reed Richards take a fucking... what are those things called? You know, the Stretch Armstrongs. He should have made him, like, carry one of those, like, something like... Like, you know, like, it's like his childhood thing that he keeps with him, so he just has it in his pocket, and then it just merges onto him. And then it's like, he's like, where's my Stretch Armstrong? And then he sees it and goes, what? And he gets it. He's like, what the fuck is going on here? I mean, I don't know what Sue's would be, but that's what Mr. Fantastic should have been.
She's just, like, writing a note in, like, invisible ink. Like a little UV
light. Yeah, she has an invisible pen in her pocket.
Like a spy pen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, saying that though, right?
Go on.
Do you think if you shine her with one of those thingy lights when she's invisible, right? Do you reckon if you get one of those UV lights and shine it on her, you'd be able to see her again? Is that something that will exist with her?
But all
that you can with the ink?
Maybe we would have found out in the sequel. They were going to make a sequel to this, by the way, but thankfully they didn't. Because it was so bad. The whole machine explodes and the whole lab is just fucked. And this next bit, I'll admit, I thought it was quite good. So Reed is trapped under some rubble and he's like, I can't get out. And he seems like he gets free because he starts crawling over to where he can hear Ben's voice. And he looks back and his legs are just stretched. I was like, alright, that seems... If they were to have one set in the MCU and they did that same thing, That's brilliant. I quite like that. I thought it was good.
Yeah. You know how they do the thing typically where they make the suits to enhance the powers?
Yeah.
Why did his suit stretch here? Yeah, it's not an adaptive.
Good point.
His fucking bum should have been out. His big stretchy bum should have been out.
Don't worry, they all get naked in like the next scene. Because they end up in Area 57, which I guess is just like Area 51, but a few numbers down, and doing just Area 52 would have been too suspicious. Like, it had to be like real world and gritty, so they went a few more numbers down than just 51 or 52.
The more it goes up, the more like mysterious it gets. So
I want to go to Area 69.
Area 69. It just exists. It just exists between like realms or something because it's so secretive. Yeah, you have to like think your way there or something.
Like the houses in Harry Potter that exist inside of the houses.
Yeah, literally.
So we see Mr. no, he's not Mr. Fantastic. He never gets called that, and he's not. He's Mr. Shit. Got him. So he's laid out on a table, and he's all stretched out in his arms and legs, and it just looks weird and CGI and gross. It doesn't look. I suppose it's meant to be like uncomforting. Uncomforting, yeah, sure.
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. That's way better. That's a word. Yeah. And yeah, I'm presuming he's naked under that little towel he has over him. Probably.
I mean, he must
I don't know.
I mean,
Do you think if everything else is stretched out, his fucking dong's just like touching the floor?
I was just thinking that, you know.
Whap.
But like, no, I don't want to be like thingy or anything. Do you reckon can he like control the length of that? You know what I mean?
I
so, like,
assume so.
could he just be like?
Could
he just be there like that? And he just goes like. Oh, fuck.
Mr. Fantastic has the highest mark on the wall for how high he can pee, like always, because he just fucking keeps sending it up.
So yeah, he's naked on a table. I'm guessing Johnny Storm's also naked on a table. We see him; he's topless at least, but he's probably completely naked because he's just on fire. There's no like outline where they've put like fireproof pants on him. Sue Storm is probably also just naked lying on a table because unless she can turn her clothes invisible. So they're all just naked.
I will say slight credit for not abusing that aspect of the character like the 2005 one did.
Yes, they just
where Jessica Alba like had to get naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Originally, that scene wasn't in there, and then they cast Jessica Alba, and then they put that scene in.
Fuck's sake.
Is that a true fact?
Yeah.
Oof.
So that's at least that didn't happen in this. And Reed's in his room, and he can hear Ben yelling through the vent because he's in pain because he's all made out of rocks. So he stretches through the vent, all naked, and he's just rubbing his like elasticy dick up these vents. And
imagine his fucking testicles getting caught in a grate or something.
Oh no! No.
Oh my god!
And imagine being the workman underneath the grate doing your job, and this fucking ball bag falling out.
You just imagine it's like The Office where they're just in the staff room, just casually sipping, and it just so happens to like happen in the vent above, and they just hear a voice go like, "Oh fucking hell!" Like, what was that? And then it just like seeps through. Like, do you remember that bit in the 2004 one when he puts his hand under the door and his finger just goes up really quick just to fit under? That's what it'd be. Oh god, that's what it'd be like. That'd be well grim. Does he feel pain? Because I can't imagine he does. He can't do.
I can't imagine he does.
Like that, unless he maybe just gets used to the pain. I guess I don't know, but
that's horrifying.
Yeah. Imagine he's just constantly in pain, so he has to just get used to it or something.
They do that to the Thing, though, don't they? Isn't there a line where, like, he says, "Oh, are you in pain?" He says, "Oh, I'm used to it."
Yeah. So he's.
Oh,
I think
fuck.
the Thing in this is okay to begin with. A lot of the we've militarized him and stuff, and he becomes very angry.
I agree with that.
I like that, and he looks good. He's a good CGI rock monster. I think, yeah, he looks pretty good, especially in the dark. But that's not saying much. It should look good all the time, but it looks especially good in the dark. But yeah, Reed escapes and he just fucks off his little rubbery ass. He's just running out through trees or whatever, and then they lose him. And
he's really big when he runs off as well. Like, he's like really big, and like
weird.
It freaked me out a bit. It gave me like weird vibes. Like, imagine being like mountain climbing and just seeing a fucking massive, huge naked man running across the landscape.
It's Bigfoot. There he goes.
You know what they should have done? Do you remember in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where Mike TV gets shrunk in the TV and then they stretch him out and he's all flat when he walks out? That's what they should have done.
Isn't there a bit in the fucking 2004 one where he goes really flat or something, and he's really like wobbly or something?
He's dancing, I'm pretty sure. There's a bit where he dances and he flattens himself out and does like the worm as like an envelope across like a dance floor because he's really flat. And then he like, he sort of spins a girl towards him by like wrapping his arm around her.
I remember that, yeah.
Like, coiling her in like a snake. He just like coils his arm up around her as he pulls her in. It's not good. It's not nice. But they've all got these disabilities, as Michael B. Jordan called them now. They're not. They're superpowers, mate. They genuinely are. You can turn on fire like that. At least he can. 1 year later, because they do a time jump, and suddenly they can all just control their powers. And they all work for the government.
Didn't want to thing you. They just didn't want to go through the casual training, testing thing. So it's fine. We'll just skip a year. It's all good.
And the thing, he isn't wearing any pants or trousers. Very strange. Although he hasn't got.
Give the man some pants.
He just hasn't got it. It's just not there.
It looks weird though.
It does look.
Let the man have his dignity. He's made out of fucking rocks. Give him some pants.
See, because he's not got anything there, does he like have desires that everyone else has? You know what I mean? Or is that just gone because he's made of stone?
Yeah, there must be some way he can get his rocks off.
Hey. I mean, in the comics, he gets married. I'm pretty sure he has like a long-term girlfriend and stuff. So he must.
He has a girlfriend in the first film as well, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Thingy from The Walking Dead, the one that everyone hated.
God, do you remember that bit in the 2005 one where he hides from her for ages, and then he grows the confidence to like show himself to her, and she fucking takes the ring off when she sees him.
Yeah. Fucking brutal.
They were brutal, that film.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's one little parallel I noticed between this and like the Marvel films. Someone's walking down like a corridor and they go, "Oh, where's the big guy?" Referring to the Thing. The Hulk gets called big guy a lot in the Marvel movies. Whether or not that was intentional, because Josh Trank hated every fucking second of the Avengers, I don't know, but there you go. But her hair's different when they go and see her, and they're like, "Hey, Sue Storm, we need you to find Reed Richards because he's leaving this strange pattern that no one can follow." I'm good with patterns, I'll do it. Alright, cheers, Sue Storm. So she walks into a different room.
You said you were good at patterns in that one scene earlier on.
Yeah.
So let's come to you.
So she walks into this room to go and find him, and her hair's different again. And I don't get how no one was able to track him down, and she can do it instantly because she's good at spotting patterns. What?
I don't know.
And she remembers that one time over a year ago where he happened to mention fucking Captain Nemo while...
Yeah. Conveniently in the same scene where we find out she's good with patterns, and then it never comes up again until this scene. So, Maybe, again, this is the thing, maybe at the same party, someone told him that he needs to not only add the fact that they have a relationship, but also mention the thing about the patterns in Captain Nemo first. So he's like, "Oh, you know what, fuck it, I'll just do one big scene, stick it all somewhere in the film, sorted." Like a nice little, present for himself, making it easy.
Films are supposed to be easy. That's the best thing about making a film. They're not supposed to be hard.
But yeah, Reed Richards is in South America, I think. And he's got a different face. I thought it was John Bernthal to begin with, because he looks a little bit like that. But it's not. He can just do this rubbery face thing to change his face.
I hated it when they actually do it.
It looks horrific. It's a good idea. I like it. It's
Why wouldn't you have him
use better? But
if you had him like do this and kind of mold it a bit with his hands, you would have masked it underneath the hands, and it would have been. But just seeing it, it makes me uncomfortable. I hated it.
It looked like The Rock in that Mummy movie. You know, when he becomes like a Scorpion King.
It was
exactly like that, and it was
PS2 The Rock.
Bad.
You know what's like a terrifying idea, right? What if he did that once to try and blend in, but then he could never figure out how to get his face back? He could never figure out how to mold
that's
it back.
A fucking horror movie. Like an identity.
Yeah. He's just stuck with this face, and he's just constantly trying to change it, looking at old pictures of himself. But he just can't quite get something off. It's like when you try and make someone...
That sounds quite good, actually.
Yeah. It's like...
No, do not steal. That sounds quite good.
Yeah.
It's like when you play like Fallout and you try and make someone's face in the character editor, but you just can't quite get it right. That's what it's like. You'd be constantly doing it like all the time. That's a horror film right there for you.
Man. But yeah, she manages to find him, and they're like, right, who should we send after him? Let's send his best friend, Ben Grimm. Yep, let's do that. So they send him to go and get him, but as well as they don't send just him. It's not like he could do it all by himself, even though he could, and he does. They send some soldiers as well, so that they can be beaten up by Reed Richards, because we need to see him punch someone with a stretchy arm. It's not a good fight scene. It's not good. Doesn't look nice.
Does he thingy someone? Does he like clothesline someone where he puts his arm out and you like run into his arm?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Does he? Because that's as soon as like you think, man, Mr. Fantastic, that's like the one move that I feel like he always has. Yeah. He just like sticks his arm out and someone runs into it. Yeah. Or like, which one is it? Is it in one of them where like he does like he puts his arm out but sticks a leg out, but it like goes like that? Is that in this one, or is that one of the old ones?
I don't know. I can't remember.
No. It's not even Mr. Fantastic.
It's Elastigirl, isn't it?
It's Elastigirl.
Yeah. I'm just from that.
She does that? Oh, man. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, dear.
That is...
Oh, man, why is The Incredibles a better film?
It's the best Fantastic Four film. It is.
Right, yeah. Like you were saying that it's really difficult, but I don't think it is. And I think The Incredibles proves that.
Think about it. The Incredibles, the only difference between The Incredibles and the Fantastic Four is that one of them is fast and one of them catches on fire.
Yeah.
Because the other powers, right? Mr. Incredible is fucking really strong, like the Thing. Fucking Elastigirl's, stretchy or whatever. And then the other one can be invisible. It's exactly the same.
And force fields.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It baffles me. I've only just realised that they're the Fantastic Four. It's just this minute occurred to me.
And Jack can set on fire. Eventually, one of his many powers he can just set on fire. But anyway, so Ben Grimm headbutts Reed Richards, and oh my god, it looks fucking terrible. Right?
God,
he headbutts him, and he just sort of goes, ah, and falls over. And then there's a beat, and then we cut. Right? Every time, like, I know I don't know much about movies, but if you want to have like a punch or like a knockout seem impactful, you cut as they do the headbutt or the punch, right?
Yeah.
Like that's lights out, black, done. Not
the rule is you cut on the nut. That's what you do.
cut on the nut.
Oof.
Okay. Is that the same in porn as well? That's it. Over. Done. No more for you. But yeah, we cut back to the base or wherever they are, and Sue Storm Hair is different again. And they've managed to rebuild the gate traveling device thing without Victor Von Doom and without Reed Richards. They haven't got either of them, and they managed to rebuild it. They probably still already had the plans, but they decide they're going to build it again. But they need someone to get it started. They need someone just to fix the code, which is why they needed Reed Richards. And he does, and he fixes it. So why was Victor Von Doom important? Because he needed to be the bad guy. That's why.
Yeah.
Reed as well, before this scene, is never shown to actually be efficient with coding at all. Being good at coding and being good at science are two very different fields.
Yeah. But he's just a genius because...
Did he say why they're going back in this scene?
To get its energy in stuff.
Isn't it one of... This might be me just like thinking about it rather than the movie telling me? Is it more like they're telling them if they go back they could probably find a cure, but it's more like the US government wants,
military
the
stuff.
energy and stuff? Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
But most likely. But yeah, so they leave Reed Richards, a criminal, a fugitive from the US government, alone in a room to code on this multi-million US military-funded project.
Which he's already stolen once.
Which he's already, and he just goes, yeah, okay, I'll fix it. What? Anyway.
Well.
They send some people over to the other dimension because they sent some people over to test it, to get some readings, to do what they should have done in the first place. I'm like, who's that mysterious figure on the horizon? Here he comes. It's Dr. Doom. But you wouldn't know that because it doesn't look anything like him. It just, I don't know. I've just put that design looks wank.
Yeah.
Where does he get the cloth from to make the hood? Because it's a barren planet. So, like, what the fuck?
And from a filmmaking standpoint, how do you make Doctor Doom's hood look bad?
Yeah, I know. It's bloody massive,
he looks like
isn't
he's
it?
just got a bin bag on. He's just got a bin bag, just tied it round him, and
yeah.
Just.
And what
why is he wearing it as well? Does it say why he's wearing it?
He wears it in the comics.
That's it.
Well, yeah. It's a bit windy, so he sticks
they
his
bring
hood
him
up
back
his
with
head.
him because he's all injured and damaged, and he has powers too, like exploding people's heads.
He's God now, I guess.
But he can't explode the heads of the main characters because they're the main characters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely.
But so yeah, he's walking through all these hallways and he's going, pop, your head's dead, pop, your head's dead, stopping bullets, your head's gone. And then Franklin Storm comes up and he's like, I'm just going to make you pass out and die slowly so that you can have a final world with your children and stuff because you're a main character in this story.
See,
but yeah,
why do I feel like...
Go on.
I was gonna why do I feel like this corridor scene was like the bit in the film where Josh Trank was like, oh man, this is going to be the bit that everyone loves, him walking down the corridor blasting heads. And it's just kind of shit, because he looks really shit. He's just this...
It's not just kind of shit, it's very fucking shit. It's terrible.
He's just like fucking... And he just looks bad. And it's just, I don't know.
Do you think, going off his feelings for like Avengers and stuff, do you think, because you know how he was working on the Boba Fett project and then quit, allegedly before he got fired? That's what his statement is now. He quit because he knew he was going to get fired. Do you think he actually sat and watched Rogue One and watched Darth Vader's corridor scene and just realised, fucking hell, why is my one so shit?
But
maybe that's what he does with all films, and he's like, he just sees a good film and he's like, fuck, why can't I do that? Jesus Christ. Throws a cup at the wall or something. Gets all angry.
So
come on, Josh, come on!
He's been brought back to Earth, and he decides, nah, I'm going to go back to my dimension now and destroy your planet. What have you been waiting for? Like, why? What?
Yeah.
What? But yeah, he decides to fuck off, and Sue Storm's hair is different again. And he gets back to his dimension, and he builds out of rocks, because he's got telekinesis or something, this big portal dimension thing, and starts sucking through trees and incinerating them. With a big blue beam. It's blue beam
in the sky.
Everybody. It's that time of movie making where it's got a blue beam.
That has... I'm going to be careful here. It seems to have gone away. And I'm very glad it has. Every fucking superhero movie had a big fucking... Why did Suicide Squad have a big blue beam?
What was the first movie to do it? Was it
Avengers? Avengers did the big blue beam.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good in Avengers. First blue beam. Oh, are we gonna have another rating for blue beam movies? Can we do that? Either way,
it's Avengers and then it's everything else equally as bad.
Basically.
Oh no!
Every
you know
blue
what this
beam
means though. You know what's gonna happen now? Zack Snyder's gonna put a blue beam in his fucking version of thingy, isn't he?
It's
gonna be a blue beam. Yeah, he's gonna turn that scene that at the end that was originally red into blue, or just grey in general, just grey, you know. And then he's gonna add a blue beam to it. That's what's gonna happen. But it's gonna not be blue because it's gonna be grey, because the film's gonna basically be in black and white because it's Zack Snyder. So.
Oh, that movie's gonna be so bad. I'm so here for it.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for it to be bad.
The Fantastic Four then rock up. They fly through the portal in the little bubble, and Johnny Storm can fire through it. And they land, and they go, right, we need to stop him. What's he doing? Let's tell the audience what he's doing, because it isn't clear at all. So that's exactly what they do, and they just... There's a bit where Reed Richards says, Victor, stop this. And he says, there is no Victor. Only Doom. Yep. If someone wants to edit this in like a smash cut of just all of us sighing and complaining, I think that would be fantastic. I probably won't have to cut out much, to be fair.
I mean, why do that? He's not even... He doesn't bin his name in the comics. Like, ever. He's never once done that.
He's got a great name. He's got a great superhero, like, supervillain name.
Yeah!
But they fight the Fantastic Four. They all try and fight him individually, and they can't do it. And then they work together and they punch him into the big blue beam. Is that all they had to do to begin with?
Did you fucking forget where it's like Reed's like, he's stronger than each of us, but he's not stronger than all of us, and that's his fucking plan. Just bum rush him. Genius, Reed Richards.
So
it was around here as well. The other line that I said I remembered because it was so bad, right? Which was he fucking, because there's no reason that anyone would ever say this to anyone, right? He fucking boom, he like throws Susan Storm to the ground and like almost fucking kills her, and he goes, "I hoped our future would be different, Susan." Why would you say that, you creepy little fuck?
Yeah.
I really wanted you to ride me, Susan. Boom! What on earth? And do you know what? Yeah. That kind of goes into Marvel Comics in general, because a ridiculous amount of stuff happens entirely because of the 6 or 7 men that all want to have a go on Sue Storm. It's ridiculous.
Mad. But yeah, they've done it. They've defeated the bad guy, and they've come back through the portal, and they land and like, yes, we've done it. And there's this big triumphant fanfare. And like when the back's to the building, the camera pans up, massive fucking hole in the ground. How many people have died in that? No, big triumphant moment. They've stopped him. That was their fault. That crater exists because of them. They created the dimension traveling thing. They created Doctor Doom. Their fault. Did they get arrested or put in a special prison? No, we want our own place where we can work because we saved the day and you owe us. Here you go.
They just let him go. Why? There's no universe where the US military wouldn't just kill them there in that room. You know what I mean? They will not let him go.
So they demand they have their own place, and they do, and it's called Central City. Because
is that
it's
a reference
building,
to something? Because
they said it, and they said, here, we don't own it, it's Central City. What?
Isn't Central City where Arrow's set?
Yes, it is. Before that, it is a reference. I googled it, forgotten what it was, but it's something to do with the Fantastic Four. I think one of their bases at one point is called Central City, which is weird.
Great,
it's a weird name for a building.
Great.
It's more like synonymous with the Arrow, because that's a much better. It's not great, but it's better than this.
People like it. For better or worse, people like it.
And then they get that bit. They're all stood on the banister, looking off into this green screen, and they're like, we need a name, because we're a superhero team. Alright, what should we call ourselves? And they have this cringy fucking discussion where they're just kind of skirting around Fantastic Four for ages, and like, why don't we call ourselves the thing that nobody wanted and some other people?
How harsh is that, by the way? What the fuck? I know they like bicker in the comics, but they fucking like each other. Jesus.
Not good. And this is the only bit where we get their actual names used. So the Thing gets sort of called the Thing when he gets called the thing that nobody wanted, and the Human Torch calls himself the Human Torch, and like the Rockettes or whatever. And then Penguin's like, I'm so humble. This is all fantastic. Say that again. It's fantastic. Away with a Fantastic Four.
You know what I really want? I really want it to cut off. You know, he'd like, we should be the, and then it cut off. I mean, I can't remember if that's what he actually said because I forgot. But it cut off, and then the credits happen, and then after credit scene where it just continues, and he goes, Fantastic Four, and they all just go, fucking hell, that's a shit name. Just walk off. Like, fucking hell, mate.
But
yeah, like, you're a clever man, but that's poor choice of thing, because oh my god.
Annoyingly, when this happened, I immediately drew it. It's very similar to the end of Age of Ultron. They all rally together, and they're all in that room, and Captain America's only goes, Avengers, and then it cuts. Because you know he's going to say assemble, and it's like, he was going to say the Thing, cool. But it's not the same in this, and yet the scene is so similar, and yet when it happens, you just feel so just deflated.
I do feel like it's... I do feel like they're both done for the same reason, though. I do feel like Joss Whedon was uncomfortable with saying Avengers Assemble. And the one good element about that is that when he finally did say it in the big movie, it was pretty cool.
It paid off and it worked really nice. But yeah, I mean, if Age of Ultron had been called Avengers Assemble, it wouldn't have been as good. It would have been even more similar to this, where they just make you read what he was going to say instead. But because Age of Ultron was called Age of Ultron and not Avengers Assemble, I think it...
Could you imagine if that was the planned line? Chris Evans goes, Avengers, Age of Ultron.
But yeah, that's the end of the movie.
When did Age of Ultron come out? What year was
2014.
So it came out before this.
It did.
It was the same year.
It was 14.
So,
14.
So what you're telling me is Josh Trank went to watch Age of Ultron in the cinema, saw that ending, and he was like, Avengers, no! You stole my idea, no! I hated every second of that, no! 2 times in a row, damn you. Damn you, Josh Whedon.
Yeah. I do have some
Josh Trank just needs to stop fucking watching films that he's not going to like. For real.
He does.
Sorry, Jacob.
Yeah, that's okay.
Then go for it.
The Fantastic Four got nominated and won some awards.
What?
No, not real awards.
So they're not like, this is the best thing. They're all for the worst things. It got nominated for worst screen combo and worst screenplay.
Yeah, that's
fair.
Worst director, worst prequel, worst remake, worst rip-off or sequel, worst picture, and was tied with 50 Shades of Grey.
Whoa.
Amazing.
This was the worst rip-off or sequel. It wasn't a rip-off, and it was a worst prequel. How can it
it was ripping off Chronicle.
It was the worst sequel and prequel.
People just hated it so much that they just wanted to give it as many bad awards as possible.
Yeah,
they were like, right, we have all these things, so I just fucking give it to a Fantastic Four. God awful.
Yeah. And if you didn't hate this movie enough already, I have some fun facts. As you may have noticed, Stan Lee was not in this Marvel movie. He declined to be in it.
Doesn't surprise me. He loves the Fantastic Four, though. He fucking credits that as the reason he even got back into comics. Because he was really bummed out about the entire state of the comics industry. And he said, it doesn't make sense to me anymore. All these writers are writing about things that I don't think are right. And his wife said, write something you do think is right and combat that. And that thing was the Fantastic Four.
I'm pretty sure
That's kind of sad, isn't it?
Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, he cameos as himself. I think he does.
I think he does. Yeah.
He does in that. But he didn't want to be in this one. Can't fucking blame him. The comics, Marvel, the comic company, they didn't like this at all. And so there was a scene, or a panel, I suppose, in Punisher number 12, in which the Fantastic Four, who looked a lot like the movie version of the Fantastic Four, got blown up. They blew them up in the comics because they hated them so much.
That's amazing.
Fucking love that.
God.
Kate Mara hadn't watched this movie a month after it had come out. She was in it and she hadn't watched it. I don't know if it's still the case or if she's just never watched it ever, but
Don't,
at least
Kate, if you're watching this, don't do it.
Don't do it to yourself.
Originally, this was going to be released in competition with Jurassic World, Inside Out, and Ted 2, but the studio thought, it's not going to do well against that, let's push it back. So it competed against, as we said, Man from U.N.C.L.E., and I'm not sure if it was a week before or whatever, but also Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Really? I must have missed that. That is.
It could have been the week before or either way, but ended up competing against those and still didn't do well.
No.
Galactus was going to be in this movie.
Thank God he wasn't.
I don't even want to imagine how he would have designed Galactus. Jesus Christ.
That other dimension that they went to, he was going to be in there. It's like, I'm starving and I'm dying. I need to find a way to more planets. And Doctor Doom was going to be his Silver Surfer character. So when he got stuck there, he would have been stuck with Galactus and was going to help him out find other planets. Which I think, it would have been better than this, especially if he wasn't just
I'll give you that, yeah. I think if you want to build Galactus as this, because that kind of makes him seem like an almost like Eldritch style cosmic horror, and I think that can work. So it's certainly, if you're going to have him be a big bloke as well, certainly a lot better than making him just a fucking hurricane or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There were some bits that were cut, or at least designed for this movie and then cut out. The Fantastica was going to be in it. And
I remember seeing the concept art for that.
Concept art for these are pretty cool. They look pretty nice. As was Herbie, their little robot thing. Although the designs are very like BB-8-ish. He's on this little ball rolling around. So there's probably a good reason they didn't put him in, because they revealed BB-8 in like 2014.
Oh yeah? Didn't
that trailer
that year as well?
So they didn't put him in this. What else have I got here? Oh, you may have noticed throughout the movie I was saying that Sue Storm's hair changes. You may have noticed it even while you were watching the movie. How many times do you think it changed?
Ooh. It's going to be a lot. I'm going to say at least 26, 27.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to say around 15.
Yeah, I'm going to go 19.
It was 10.
Oh.
But even so, your hair is
Still
changing 10 times. It's between
it's 10 times
scene
too
to
many,
scene.
really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It should just be... maybe after like the year jump, have it be a little bit different. But, no, never mind.
The problem is they went and got a fucking wig from Lovey Babes or something.
It was really obvious. But don't worry, guys. I have this last section here. It's not all Doctor Doom and gloom.
Hey.
The sequel got cancelled for obvious reasons, and Tommy Wiseau wanted to direct that one.
I remember that.
I'd never heard that.
Oh
That's
man, amazing! I would love.
So,
you know what? I'm now sad that it didn't get made, because I want to see that film. Like really bad.
Could you imagine Miles Teller having to work with Tommy Wiseau?
Fantastic.
Fuck.
Oh man.
More good news. The rights to the Fantastic Four are back with Marvel, as we mentioned, and a movie is in development. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Even if it's bad, it's still gonna be good and better than this.
Yeah.
The worst Marvel movie, it's up for debate, but I reckon it's Thor: The Dark World.
I think it's original Thor, actually, but
Fair enough.
Thor: The Dark World is like kind of like right next to it.
Yeah, but even those movies, in comparison to this and other superhero movies, are still pretty good. There are still superhero movies that are worse than this.
Yeah.
More good news, I guess. I'm not sure if you guys stuck around hoping there'd be an end credit scene. There wasn't. There was just a big load of text that said the making of this film involved 15,000 jobs. So there's like, hey, it was...
Nice.
You probably sat here thinking, God, that was shit. But don't worry, look at all these... We paid lots of people. That's a good thing. More good news. Jamie Bell, who played The Thing, and Kate Mara got married in 2017.
Oh,
Hey,
that's sweet.
That's nice. Whether or not they're still married, I don't know. But
Should we double check?
hey,
It was like part of their vows. I promise never to watch Fantastic Four if you don't.
But yeah, I thought I'd leave us on a more cheery note than what the rest of the movie was. And there you go.
For it.
Fantastic Four.
Are they still together,
boy.
Amelia?
Kate Mara. Yes.
Hey,
You know what?
good.
Very good.
You know what I hope is also in the vows, right? I hope that while they were doing it, he was like, I vow to, if I ever see Josh Trank in the street, it's clobbering time.
Oh.
Get out of it.
Man.
Like, you dickhead.
So, that was
Throws his,
Fantastic Four. What we're going to do now is we're going to go around in a circle of any final thoughts we have on the movie and individually rank it a score out of 10, and then I'm going to use math to get an overall score out of 100. Now, normally, even with these bad movies, we usually have like a good chat, and Jacob, you have soldiered us through this one, because I think none of us have even wanted to fucking think about this movie for a second.
Sorry, guys.
Regardless, we've got to do it for just a couple minutes more. Amelia, let us know.
Yeah, this was tough. I just, like, literally, the reason why I've not even spoke much is because you guys said everything I wanted to say. Literally. I'd be like, oh, no, that's, like, literally, I'm not even going to give it the time of day. I'm not even going to sit here and regurgitate everything we've just said.
Yeah.
I am going to give this film a 1 out of 10, which
Generous.
I think is kind, yeah.
Jacob.
Yeah, I've been trying to decide between Twilight and this as to which one I want to say which one I like more, but it's which one do I dislike the least, I think. You see, Twilight was just on. It was just on, and it was just there. Fantastic Four, I actively wanted to turn it off, despite having some bits in it where I was like, that's not bad. If that was in a better movie, that could have been a pretty fantastic bit. But fucking hell. I think I'm gonna go with 2.
2. Joe.
Right, I don't know, because this is the worst superhero film I've ever seen in my entire life. It is fucking awful, and it's not good awful. You know, like you look at like Batman and Robin, it's bad, but it's still funny. It's funny to watch. But this film, oh my god, never have I finished watching a film and felt physically angry that the film exists. And it's just made me it finishes, I'm like, why the fuck did I just put the effort in to watch that? This film doesn't deserve any effort at all. Oh, it pisses me off. I'm never gonna watch it ever again. I'm gonna... Like, right, if my kids asked me about this film, I would be like, you do not watch that film, because you can do a million things. You could watch paint dry for 2 hours, and it would be more productive than having to sit through this film. It's fucking terrible. Oh, man. So I'm actually just going to give it a 0, because it's fucking awful. It's bad.
So, God, where do you even fucking start? Let's start at the beginning. It literally starts with them as fucking kids. That's the joke answer for where you start your scripts, Josh. Jesus Christ. The script is bad. The story is... Like, there is kind of isn't one. When Doctor Doom shows up, there's literally like 15 minutes left. When actual Doctor Doom shows up, there's like 15 minutes left. There's been no agency at all. At least... When agency was injected into Twilight, they did it with Supermassive Baseball, which was really fun. And the third act of the movie was like, it continued to be trashy good fun. Nothing about this blue beam in the sky, boring, bland shit show had any fun or... Oh, it looks disgusting. Always. Half the actors are phoning it in. The other half of the actors are apparently actively getting bullied on set. There is, with the exception of those 15,000 jobs, there is nothing of value. There is nothing of value here. And I really struggled to warrant this because it does feel severe. But I agree with you, Joe, and I'm going to give it 0. And the only reason that I thought it was difficult was because the last movie I gave a 0 to was the holiday special. And I do think that the holiday special maybe is a little bit worse, only in that... So the Fantastic Four, one other kind of... It's not really a positive. Its 3-act structure is really clear. So you do very quickly get a sense of, there's not long now, this is nearly over. But with the holiday special, it could feasibly go on forever. So, that's kind of one point in its favor, but I don't think it's actually enough to give it like a full point. I truly think this movie is valueless, which gives it an overall score out of 100 of 7.5.
Yeah.
Making it the second worst movie of all time.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the most important part of the show and finding out what we're going to be watching next week. Joe, let us know.
So you had to suffer through that one. This next one, I was thinking, right, I wanted to do... It's considered a bad film, but everyone still loves it because of nostalgia. So it's not a good film, even though the person writing it is a good writer. It's got a lot of nostalgia. I mean, unless you guys didn't watch it, but like I definitely watched it. It's got a lot of nostalgia. So for next week, we are going to be watching Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed.
Knew it! I just had this gut feeling. As soon as you said good writer, I was like, James Gunn, Scooby-Doo, fuck.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed.
Nice.
I don't think I've seen this one.
You've never seen Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed?
I've seen Scooby-Doo, the one with Scrappy-Doo in it, and Rowan Atkinson. Not seen the second one.
See, I was gonna pick that one,
movie.
but this one, it's much more Scooby-Doo than the first one is because you've got the actual monsters from the show.
Yeah.
And you can see like James Gunn doing that thing that he loves to do, where he takes obscure characters and puts them into the film. You know what I mean? But yeah, there you go.
Sweet.
Monsters Unleashed.
You called this ages ago. I remember like when I did my first pick, and I was like, I want to give us a good fun time movie. And I was about to say Baby Driver, and you said, I don't know why, but I swear down you were going to say Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, fair enough. Well, there you go. Now
come back round. Holy shit.
Subconsciously, my mind knew.
Thank you very much for watching this episode about Fantastic Four. Let us know what you think of the episode and the movie in the comments down below. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Make sure to give us a rating on all your favourite podcasting apps if you've been listening to us. Make sure to follow us all over on social media at The Real Outtakes on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll see you next time for Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed.